everybody, great to see you again. Thanks for tuning in. Today is Saturday, so we're doing it a little bit early today. Usually I do these on Sunday, but we are going to do a little bit today, and then tomorrow morning I'm going to show you the other part of this. Today we're going to be making my Nana Wiley's famous Raisin Bran muffins. And it is a phenomenal recipe. I love it. It reminds me so much of her, and every time I make these, I miss her dearly. She's been gone for several years, and I miss her a lot. So, but this recipe you're going to love. If you love Raisin Bran, then you're gonna love this recipe for sure. So we're gonna start right off with the Raisin Bran. I just take one box of Raisin Bran, and now this box here, it's a normal box, 16.6 ounces. The recipe calls for 15 ounces, but I use the whole box, okay? So you want a fairly big bowl for this. This is gonna make a lot of muffins, okay? The great thing is, these freeze and keep so well. So I always freeze them, and well, sometimes they don't get to the freezer. I do have to admit that I do eat a lot of these. These are so good, but they're a great source of fiber. They're actually pretty good as far as because of the bran that's in there. But we're gonna add some yummy ingredients to it too, like sugar and buttermilk and all that fun stuff. So I've added the whole box of Raisin Bran here, and the next we're gonna add is the flour. Now we're gonna need quite a bit of flour here. We're gonna need 5 cups of flour. So I'm gonna grab my flour real quick. And what you can do with this too is, and what we're going to do is we're gonna put this in the fridge and let it set overnight. Now if you don't wanna wait overnight, you don't have to. You can just let it set a few hours. The reason why we let it kind of sit overnight or in the fridge is because you want the Raisin Bran to really like soak in all of the buttermilk and all the liquid ingredients so that the bran itself kind of decompresses and there's no like hard flakes when you cook it, okay? So when you let this set, this is going to come out really thick, and I just scoop it by I use like an ice cream scoop, and I scoop it right into my muffin tins, but you'll see that when we do the rest of this in the morning. So I'm gonna go ahead and just stick all my flour in here. Now, another thing that you can do with these too, is you can kind of make your own spin on these, and you can, you know what I do sometimes, well, the recipe calls for just walnuts, but I put pecans in there too, and I always put in extra raisins because you can't go wrong with that, right? So I'm just gonna finish up really quick here, and then I've got a smaller scoop in this, so it takes me a little bit longer to scoop this flour in there. So we've almost got all of this in there. My grandmother used to make these, and when we used to visit her down in Florida, and oh my goodness, the whole place smelled so wonderful. I mean, she used to make them up here too, but that was one of my favorite things, is like helping her make these, and just the smell and just the memories of her. You know how like when you cook something or you smell something, it instantly takes you back to somewhere? Whenever I make these, I miss her desperately. So I miss both my grandmothers, really. They've been gone. They've both been gone. They both passed away on Mother's Day. Not the same year, but a different year. But how ironic is that, huh? So anyway, Mother's Day is kind of an honorary day for me because I remember both of them so well. So I've got 5 cups of flour in here, and I've got the whole box of Raisin Bran in here so far. So now the next part that we're gonna do, we're kind of incorporating the dry ingredients first. I just find that a little bit easier. I'm just gonna toss this a little bit with a wooden spoon. Now I've got quite a big mixing bowl here, and this mixing bowl actually has a lid that goes with it, which is perfect because I just cover it when I'm finished with this and put it in the fridge. And I usually keep it overnight. I try to plan ahead with this recipe, and I just kind of let it set in the refrigerator overnight, just because it really does make a huge difference. To me anyway, it does. Okay, so that's kind of all incorporated there. And the next part that we're gonna add is the salt. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna do 2 teaspoons of salt. So kind of just shake that in there. All right. And then to the salt and the other dry ingredients, we're gonna go ahead and add the sugar. So we're gonna have 3 cups of sugar. I think my favorite memory of my grandmother when she was making these is that she let us do a lot of the cooking, or let me do a lot of the cooking. Maybe because I was just always wanting to. And I don't know if my other siblings really got into it or not, but I did. I loved it. So she would always just kind of let me make them, and she would just kind of guide me along. So I got to show you how I've written this recipe down because it's like on this, I don't know what this is on the back, but I've actually got this in Florida. I think it was like off the back of a box of some sort that she had. And then I just wrote it right down as she was cooking it. And I was like, okay, Nana, how do you make this? And this was back when I was visiting her in Florida. We used to go down in the springtime. So it's on this little recipe card. And I really need to transfer it into the cookbook. So I will. I'm in the process of making that cookbook. So I'm definitely gonna do that. So the next thing that I'm gonna add to this, now this may seem like quite a bit, but we're definitely gonna need some baking soda. The baking soda is gonna help these rise. And to the baking soda, it's 5 teaspoons, okay? So 5 teaspoons of soda, baking soda. There we go. Okay. So we've got the salt, we've got the soda, the flour, we've got the sugar, and we're gonna wait on the cinnamon. We're gonna add that in just a minute. But I'm gonna just kind of incorporate that soda into the mixture too. The reason why I kind of do this in stages and kind of keep mixing as we go is that this is, like I told you, is such a big mixture and it makes so many. Feel free to cut this in half at least if you don't want to make this many, but it's just, I can't tell you how much this is a fan favorite of all of ours in the family. Okay, so now we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna add, now I'm just gonna kind of eyeball this as far as the tablespoon. I have a tablespoon here, okay? And I just kind of shake it into the tablespoon just so it doesn't, well, so it doesn't go everywhere, but it kind of did. There we go. All right, so that's about probably 4 to 5 tablespoons of cinnamon. Okay, so you want the cinnamon, quite a bit of cinnamon in there, just because the Raisin Bran and the cinnamon married together so well that you definitely want to take advantage of that flavor for sure. I love it. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna start incorporating the wet ingredients to this. So I'm gonna set this off to the side and we're gonna do the wet ingredients.